What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and guess what it is? It's Japanese Tuesday. So we're going to cover the Japanese meta, take a look at the dive-ins and outs of the meta itself, look at basically the grand synopsis of what BT-13 is evolving like, and hopefully there's some change-ups that we can talk about. So without further ado, let's dive into the video and talk about it. For all those that know me well enough, I use a lot of data to back my information and understanding of metas and dynamics of what the future is going to be. So using the data of JP, this is extremely affects my prediction list for bans and what I think should be hit or restricted, just in case something would go wrong. That is, if Bandai ever listens to me. But hey, that's beside the point. But first, let's take a quick look at everything. So we can take a look at a grand total of, guess how many decks? 756 decks. So looking at this as a normal, graph, taking a look at this, it's not a pie graph, but it's a bar graph. This is showing that Shine Greymon still leading the pack, then Royal Knights following suit behind it. Then you have like Greymon Tribal definitely appearing even after the hit. Before, most of this data was a lot of Greymon Tribal was basically the data we had for when we were using it because the deck didn't have any restrictions in place. As of this month, well, a little bit prior, actually had the restrictions for about 2 months, about almost 2 months now. Now that has affected it to an extent. You have like Beelzemon X, Balfamont, then Hunters, Mirage Galga, Blue Flare, Red Hybrid, Crossheart, Alphamon. Then you have Machinedramon, Bloom Hydra Quartz, which is Plant Fairy deck, Rosemon, Jessmon, and then so on to so forth. You can take about this data here. About 14.2% of the meta is Shine Greymon. Then the Royal Knights is about 10.1%. Then you have Greymon Tribal is 7.7%. And then Beelzemon 6.9%. This is 6.9, Hunters at 5.4, and then it goes on and so forth. What I'll probably do starting next week is actually have the normal breakdown of this is all the decks that are topping, and then do something similar to a little bit of East where it's just only this week's tops using this data starting next from my point of view, Monday to Monday, using the data of new decks coming in, then use that data and make a different, pie graph to show you guys what decks are kind of just topping the week and what the percentage of them are. Because again, that's a lot of useful information and data to use for understanding what's coming forward into BT-13. So, for those that don't know, I definitely use Digimon CG Guide. They are definitely a useful source, and I'm not kidding. It's just right up here. So definitely use that to figure out what you want to get from information for future decks. So first off, let's talk about the deck I really want to talk about, and that is D-Reaper. Surprisingly, one promo actually made this deck tick up faster than I was expecting. So it hasn't done any crazy toppings yet. It just had one top. But that's because people are might be trying to figure out how to work with it more and more. And I think with the fact of that, we can take into the account that this card here, this promo here, Zubamon. So on play, by placing this card under one of your other Digimon in play as a bottom Digievolution, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Put those cards at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So that's very important. Then if you have a Digimon with legendary arms and its traits, gain 2 memory. So what this is really doing here, which is surprising, because what can happen by, let's say you do Mother. You hatch Mother, you're going first. You play Searcher, choke them to 1. Normal shenanigans. Promote Mother up. Use Mother's effect, suck in a Searcher, then use X Antibody, put that underneath. And then let's say you do a free cost Searcher, get that prepped, and then you play Zubamon down. Zubamon basically is another way of going about bubbles without having to put down a Searcher first to hopefully gain some advantage. But instead, Zubamon will go underneath. instantly gain you some decent value this way. And what do I mean by this? Basically, now you're at 3 for Mother, and unlike X Antibody that can't be trashed, this Zubermon actually counts into Reaper's being able to remove. So by trashing 7 or more Digi-Evolution cards, so this now counts into Mother, while X Antibody couldn't, bringing your Gatekeepers live sooner. Everything like that can lead to being very scary situations just by adding one little promo card that most people aren't ready for. So being able to tick yourself up on turn 1 by 3 is ridiculous in some circumstances. Or even better yet, who knows? You could go up to being at 4, just be having, if your opponent gave you, let's say, what is it? 3 memory twice. You could go, you know, Mother D Reaper, Searcher, suck in, then put X Antibody underneath, then play another Searcher for free to draw, then, you know, go Zuber to basically pay that 3, go to 0, tuck Zuber in, look at the top, then plan accordingly. If none of those cards were useful, you'll bottom deck them, and then boom, play another Zuber, tuck it underneath Mother, and you can lead to being in some faster clock plays because of just this one card. Being able to tuck under any of your other Digimon in play is really nasty, and you don't even care about the inheritable or anything like this. This just speeds your clock up in a way that your opponent is just not really ready for. That is going to be huge going forwards. I think Zubermon, if they do anything more with the Reaper, this could lead to being more and more unexpected results, to be honest with you. This was supposed to be Ragna's theme, but apparently Zubermon actually really does well in Mother D Reaper. So it's worth just talking about. And I think, guys, for anybody that knows, this is a very powerful combo, in my opinion, and it's worth just talking about. So then, let's take a look at another really interesting deck, Raggy Boy, Galactus Raggy. So, Ragnar Lord definitely wasn't something on my list to expect, but hey, who knows? If you guys can make this work, might be worth talking about, right? So, this is Ragnar Diabolic Galactic, which is just basically Ragnar Lord Mon. So, what I got in inferring about this deck, it does use the new defense trainers to help search and build up your stack and stuff like that. You do have at least 4 targets that'll cause a whiff scenario that your defensive trainer won't be able to grab if you reveal 2 of the reds, but that's kind of fine. So what I found out by looking and reading all this, they use the Strudomon or the normal climb, you know, the whole song and dance, but this thing can Digicross for playing for a 5 cost. So that's going to be huge information here. So that Destrudomon, when an opponent's Digimon, you know, Digicrossing with a Snatchmon and 4 Venmon. So this is just basically anything on the field or in your hand. Now with you Digicrossing with that, you set yourself up. This brings you up to, let's say, 4, 5, 6 ready once you get into Galacticmon. Then Galacticmon will take 4 Venmon, put it underneath in your trash, leading up to being basically a stack of 11 Digimon cards. So what does that mean? So what you'll do from this, as long as Galacticmon stays on the board, you're not trashing anything. What can happen, which gets really scary, is you can slam down Dora Brick, especially if you're trying to pass turn. You don't really care as much, because as long as you have a Dora Brick plus Flame Dramon, even though this might reduce it by 2, this brings it down to 11. All you need is 1 memory to do this combo, and then you go right into Ragnar Lordmon. If Raggy would load up. There we go. When Digivolving Blitz and when DNA Digivolving, for every 4 cards in this Digivolution, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 20 or less, and trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So this will lead to clearing a lot of boards for every 4. So what will happen here is, let's just say Venmon plus this 11, 12, 13. You can get up to 14 possibly. Comfortably 14, maybe 15. Nothing too crazy. Ragnar Lordmon will just be basically this. Now you are in a situation where your opponent wasn't ready for your DNA Digivolve into Ragna, and you can trash about 3 security, kind of doing what Beelzemon X Antibody does, but this time you actually clear any protections and, you know, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the play cost 20 or less. The more 4s you have, you can just keep targeting and trying to blow up. And then here, well, guys, I have a little bit of thing about it, Ragnar. The way I worded it, it made it sound like you can target the same Digimon twice. You can't. So you can't really get around all the protections. You can blow up one Digimon that even has one protection at least once, but then you have to target other things because of the way it's worded. Sorry about that. Just giving you a heads up. So continue. That's just ridiculous. And then you trash a bunch of free security and blitz for game. So this can lead to being very scary, especially if you can get your opponent down to 3-2 maybe, and under the right circumstances, can be very devastating just because of that Doro Brick plus Flame Dramon. Does the deck really need it? I don't know. I think it's kind of cute and very gimmicky, and it's very uniquely different in a way that wasn't totally expected. And I kind of like it. So, or even just going into the Snatchmon normal routes, you know, with Venmon being able to suspend, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add up 1 Snatch Mode, Destrudo Galactic, or fusionize among them to your hand, place 1 Venmon among them under this Digimon as a bottom Digi-Evolution card, place the rest at the bottom deck in any order. You know, the more this stays on the board, the more it can build up and kind of do the same thing. Right. So, certain circumstances, it just gets really crazy, especially with defensive training to reduce the play cost, Digi-Evolution cost of Galactic from that 6 down to, if you had 2 of them out, being down to a nice comfortable 3 cost, or even the Snatchmon Warp becoming a 6 cost. Not terrible. I mean, all this does add up nicely eventually, and I think this is pretty cool. I think it's very unique, and it's pretty cool to showcase unique decks, right? And I think that's really important, and I like this kind of style of play. Then let's talk about the final deck, and that's Bloom Hydra Quartz. Just taking a look at what they're kind of thinking about, kind of, you know, cooking up, as they say. So let them cook, right? So I really want to see what they're going to do here right now. So first off, let's take a look. We have Green Memory Boost. They're using Yoshino, so not a surprise there. When one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy, and is traced by suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory. Extending your plays is going to be really important. Kokuamon from EX4, being able to, when an effect suspends one of your Digimon, draw a card. Since you're going to be suspending most of your effects anyway, you're going to be able to gain value out of this. So again, as it always, it's trying to turbo into Quartz or just have Bloom Lord OTK scenarios really massively. And I think that's very important. Stuff to take into account is that, you know, what's interesting when I saw this list was the Cutemon, but I kind of get it. It's trying to slow down hunters, and that's understandable. Like, being able to, your opponent can't reduce the Digi-Evolution costs, or even in the mirror match, might help out. So being able to prevent that can lead to being some value. I think Hidden Potential Discover, as always, is one nutty powerful card. But you have like Hydramon being able to control boards, and then Bloom Lord, just the OTK presence, and then Quartzmon just to answer most everything else by locking them down. And as you spit bodies out, you don't really care much outside of that. But, you know, all this does add up pretty quickly. And, you know, this yam-looking thing, Yakimon, so this is a blocker, basically, you get to put out for free. Really helps in the Beelzemon matchups, or any matchups that basically you need a decent-sized blocker to come out, or multiple blockers just to prevent them from getting that lethal in. So it's not bad. I think this is going to lead to being some very interesting dynamics once we get to BT-13 as a whole. And I think once we get the trainers, which won't be till BT-14, sadly, we'll definitely change up our metas a bit, but we'll probably look something similar to 2 to 3 weeks ago, because without the trainers, we don't have the same kind of unbrick potentials as they are right now. They have the mulligans now, so things are changing up a little bit better. So I definitely like where meta shifts and everything like that. But what guys are you interested in BT-13? Let me know down in the comments. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.